Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on Ark Survival Ascended, and I'm going to show you the top 14 PVE base locations in the island map that just got released. Now there are a few updated ones because there's some stuff that didn't exist beforehand, so I'm going to show you all of those spots, and we're going to use teleporters to do so. If you don't mind, smash that like button, leave a comment below, and consider subbing to the channel because that would be awesome. I'm close to 100k, and that is what I've been going for all along. So I'm gonna go ahead and go up in the sky and show you base number 1, right? So just so you can see, there's the chords on the bottom of the screen. If you look at literally in the middle bottom, it'll tell you the exact longitude, latitude. But the reason that I like this base location, just like I like all my PvE base locations, I like a lot of space, not a lot of danger, access to water that is very quick, and flat area. Now what I want you to notice, we have water and ocean all around. We have safe water on that side that you can swim literally anything up through. And then we also have a very large flat area that you can build a gargantuan base, and almost nothing dangerous spawns over on this side. So it's a super safe location to go ahead and get your base started. And it's a near spawn point too, so it's not hard to get to, which is also a great advantage of this particular spot. Now, base number 2, let's go and check it out. All right, base number 2 is another one of those spots that can be a little bit deceiving because it's how do I say this? It's not noticeable unless you know where you're looking, right? So spot number 2 is right over here, right? There's your latitude, longitude on the bottom of the screen. And the reason that I like this spot is there is literally no way up to this spot unless you have a flyer or create a staircase. Now I'll show you what I mean. It's kind of near where you start in the very beginning, and it's got the there's a I guess a engram or a note, whatever you want to call it, up at the top of it, but it's kind of like a little cliff area, and you can get some really cool stuff going at the edge of this cliff, simply due to the fact that there's a lot of flat land. Now the one thing that it lacks is access to water, because there is no water nearby, and with the new water system it'll be a little more difficult. But it will give you a large flat area. Now this is more of like a solo player. You want to build on the top rung first, and then you kind of build your way down into the other levels. You can see there are multiple levels in this spot, and it works really well, and it's next to the ocean but not quite in it, so you have to build near that. And there's some also really cool stuff on the backside where you can kind of build your base off of this like little man-made structure area, and it's a good little overall base location. I like to sometimes build on this and then build up and in, but it's up to you how you want to do it, because you know, this is your game. Play what you want to. So that's base spot number 2 for PvE purposes. Now we're going to go ahead and go over to number 3. Now this one is another one that I love, right? So this one right here, because it's got access to the cove, it's part-ish of what you want to talk about with base number 1 over there. But at the end of the cove right here, you've got a big deep pool, and you have a large cliff that overlooks everything. It also accesses on the other side, just so you can see it. It's on the corner of the island, so you can access redwoods pretty easy. Volcano and snow zone are not far away. Plus this flat little lip right here gives you access to build a ton of stuff off the edge, and then kind of build a ladder that going down. I think there's a lot of cool stuff you can do for a PvE base build using cliffs, and that's why I like them. Inevitably cliff platforms will also be released, so you can kind of expand. But with all the new stuff that's just been released, this is a awesome base location because you can build deep into the water over there. You can see I've already got something going over there, and then you can also build on this cliff face. And again, the chords, just so you can see it right there. And that is my 3rd spot that I can show you. So number 4, base number 4. And again, it's one of those spots you'll notice that I build near the edge of cliffs usually, because I like areas that I can look nice and flat, and then you can overlook something, like you can build some windows and overlook a cool view. That's what I enjoy when I'm playing this game. So I think some other people probably like that as well. So the reason I like this spot, right, is it's a big flat area. There's a small walkway up on this side, and then it directly goes up against the redwoods forest, which has a ton of resources that are very useful. It's my old base. I accidentally forgot to turn the turrets off, but oh well. And there's again like a little cliff face, lots of access to flat land, and it's got a big flat area where you can go. There's your chords, just so you can see it right there. And lots of space. And again, I like this one a lot because it's kind of more central than some of the other coast ones, which gives you access to some of the deeper areas that have the harder tames to tame and take care of. So that is why I like that one a lot. You can take that one for what you will. It's a very popular spot, probably won't be available on a server if you're playing it. All right, base spot number 5. This is another one that I enjoy building, and pretty much all of these I've built in. This one is a new one, however. I just wanted to mention that. So this is new with the map. You can kind of see where I am right now. It's got a little inlet right here, just so you can see what I'm talking about. You can drive a boat up and in, and then into this little area opens up a nice little vast thing. You can have a cool little water base with some underground stuff. Tons of access, by the way, if you haven't seen what's right here. These are all resources that you can hit and gather, so that's huge. Plus you got some flat land that you can build on the corners over here. I really enjoy when you can kind of build something into the water and then have like a boat pirate style game. I think that's a lot of fun. It just gives you a little bit of something to change your play style around if you don't normally play like that. And plus it's totally enclosed, so you don't really need to worry about anything dangerous dropping down on you, especially if you're playing PvE and you want to avoid that kind of stuff. It's a great little zone. It's just a fun little thing. You can build up on the edges too, maybe build some turrets and make it look like you've got a big castle. And that's what I like to do as well. All right, base 6. All right, this one is another one that I enjoy a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and go straight up, right? You probably know about this one. This is Herbivore Island, and it's probably one of the most popular base locations in all of the Ark. I almost guarantee if you try and build on this, whether you're building on a PvE or a PvP server, you will not be able to build here. And the pretty simple reason behind that is because it's a massive base. You have access to all the resources you could ever need. You're surrounded by water. You got a flat U-shaped thing, so you can build some really awesome stuff. There it is on the map, just so you can see it. And it's just got everything that you could need inside of a base. It gives you access to the water that is deep right here, so you can raise your larger water tames. It gives you access to flat land all over the place. Water nearby, obviously. Access to a water style game, so you can kind of tame some mosasaurs and go down into the water. There's a ton of stuff they get. I mean, it really is. There's a reason that this is probably the #1 most populated spot for PvE servers, because you can do a lot with this area. Now, the hard thing is getting back to shore. As you can see, quite a distance, so you're gonna have to try pretty hard to get back to the shore, which kind of sucks. So take that as you will. So base #7, another one of the spots that I enjoy a ton. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and go up, and there's a reason that I like this, and this is pretty new because of the stuff that was released with ASA. Here's where I am. You can see there's where Herbivore Island is. The reason I like this is it's a twofold base, right? You've got an upper cliff, but I like the idea of this lower section building down in here where you've got cliffs as your walls kind of surrounding the entire thing, and then it opens up into the ocean. Now, the reason I like this is because you've got access to water nearby. You can build your rafts, and then you can kind of have your little inland base with walls that are pre-done for you, so you can kind of build minimally and kind of have a into the mountain look, almost like I don't know, an underground cave dweller like I like to be in most of my games. It's a very cool spot. It might be available because it's a little less populated or popular, but that flat land up on top, you can build straight up and into that as well, and that makes it a lot of fun to be able to try and access that as well. So it's a really cool base location. I like it a lot. I started building something over here in one of my solo playthroughs, and it's a lot of fun. All right, base #8. Now, these ones are ones that have existed before, and some of them are right next to each other, and I'll show you what I mean by that. But they are very popular spots. This one got totally rearranged when ASA came out. This used to be giant rocks that kind of went over the top of each other, and it's got this explorer node obviously nearby, and you can see here's your cords. But the reason that people like this is because of, yeah, that structure right there. It is a giant flat area. You are next to a metal mountain, you are next to water down there, and you're kind of in the middle-ish of the map. Now, I mean, Redwoods is the true middle, but this is an awesome area. Now, the reason that I like this one more than the other one I'm about to show you is because on top of this hill, there's nothing super dangerous that spawns except for annoying things like Troodons and Raptors and stuff like that. So it's a pretty safe area to be, and you can access it directly from running up the swamp zone over where I'm pointing on the map right there. So I like that one a lot. But base #9 is actually brand new from ASA when they brought this out. So this used to be kind of a flat surface where you couldn't go underneath. But there's a lake right here, and I used to build my bases right over there for PvE. They just created this under the rocks kind of thing, and I love bases like this where you can kind of like build into the mountain and have like a raft and stuff like that, and a funky little thing with lots of different areas that you build up to and with the intent to change. It's not very big, which I don't like, but It's got everything else that I would want inside of a base. Access to literally anything. You're close-ish to the snow zone. You have water. You've got flat land. You've got plenty of space to build. Not enough to like expand, but there's enough space to build if you need to. So one of my favorite spots to go. Now, number 10. All right, so now we're kind of getting into ones that are more commonly used as well. This is base number 10. You should know about this. This is a popular PvE and PvP spot. This is kind of like a down little crater zone, if you want to think of it that way. There's a beaver pond right there. And all these edges are all somewhat flat, but it's very popular because there's only 1, 2, 3 ways to walk into this thing. And the rest of it is just these massive walls. And people like building their bases down inside of this thing with like looking up in PvP. And for PvE, it's just got a lot to do, right? And the water is deeper than you think it's going to be. And it has beavers, so you can get some beaver dams inside of this area, which is super useful. Beaver dams, super, like, for the win. For sure, for the win. Very popular. Love it. But that's what I like to use, right? So that's just, I mean, this is a very popular building spot, so you might not be able to get it. Just be aware of that. All right, building spot number 11. Another one that is very popular. This is Carno Island in the upper right corner of the map. There's your lat long. And the reason that this one can be a little dangerous is because there's a lot of dangerous things that spawn here. Carnos, Argentavis, Raptors, Rexes. Yeah, pretty much a list of things that you don't want to be near. And the reason that it's a popular spot is because this is also a cave system down in here. And people will build in here for sure for PvP because it's got a little bit of a zone and you can kind of do what you want down in here, but it gets dangerous quickly because of the, yeah, I'm not going to go too much deeper, but you see the point, right? You can go down and in and it's, yeah, I'm not going to go much deeper, but there's a lot of stuff that you could build with this location. It's a massive island as well, and you can, if you want to be a cave dweller like I tend to be in this game, you can build down and into the cave, and that's your choice, but it's up to you if you do that or not. There are some popular things like these ruins. You can see this little separated island. I can see someone taking this island and then leaving that one as like an open area to tame, but it can also be a very popular island, so it might be harder to access that. So a little more dangerous, which is the only reason that I don't like it, but it's got everything else that you could possibly need inside of a base. All right, number 12. This is another one that I've built in before. It's always been in the Ark, and I love this spot because you're right up against the edge of the ocean. You're against the edge of the snow, and you're against the edge of some of the more popular things to tame. There's a lot of Rexes, a lot of Spinos if you head this direction, and you're at the edge of everything again, so like you can section off a small area and you don't really need to worry about larger tames and stuff like that getting into your base. Plus, it's cool that you can kind of section off this whole zone for yourself. That's not a very common thing anymore in PvE maps. So, but if you're playing solo, pick your spot. Like of the ones you've seen so far, this is probably one of my favorites to build in because it gives you the most ability to do whatever you want in the long run, right? It's not a short-term based spot. It's very difficult to build here with lack of resources and stuff like that. But in the long run, this is a great base location right here. And again, I'll show you those chords and then we'll move on to base 13. All right, this one. This one is less popular, but there's a reason that I've used this one. This is more of an outpost location that I like to build, right? Now, the reason that I like to build it is it's literally right next to the snow zone, which has a ton of resources and a ton of stuff that's useful. That's Penguin Island over there that I'm looking at on the map. And that island has access to polymer and it has access to oil, which can be very difficult to get. Unless you've seen my video, you don't know about the coral oil, which is weird, but it's a lot of fun. So yeah, it's a big flat area. I've built PvP and PvE bases on this corner. I got rated PvP wise because the ocean tricks, but a PvE base here, tons of flat land. If you can deal with the cold and put some fur on, it's predictably cold, which is nice. So you know what to expect. And you're kind of in the center-ish of the map with access to volcano, snow, and then redwoods in that direction. Plus, again, access to water is huge in Ark Survival Ascended because of the changes they made. Now this last spot, right? This last spot is probably going to be ungettable for you. I'm not going to lie to you. This is one of the more popular spots in the entire game. And the reason is pretty simple. Right here, you see where that river is over there, right? Anywhere from that to this little peak right here, you're not going to get. But there are tons of awesome spots to build with flat land. People love building near this river because you've got access to some awesome resources and it looks super cool. This ridge right here is very popular to build on, and then this little outlet right here is very popular to build on because you can also kind of go to this little end and just make some fun stuff, right? And because of how rocky these ledges are, you can build a whole bunch of like ramps down, change around, keep the different levels of your base going. It is a very good location, and the reason I like it the most is because it's pretty much in the center vertically on your map. You can easily access snow, volcano, redwoods, and this deep ocean over here is where Tusos tend to spawn, where I'm looking directly behind me. And you've got access to some really nice stuff over here. There is metal on top of this hill in that direction, and in general, it is a great location to build. So I really like this zone. You can build here, you cannot build here, but it's one of my favorite zones. And I like how they updated a lot of this with ASA, where they brought in a bunch of the prettiness to it, and that makes me very happy because I like this base spot, especially in my solo player modes. This is probably the one spot that I build the most. So hopefully this is a video that helps you out. Again, if you don't mind, smash that like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and consider subbing the channel. It helps out a ton. All right, Teach.